Hello, I'm Julie Kay, helping you find your way through grief and loss, and today I'm sharing 4 keys to safe expression of emotions. This is the 11th video in my series on emotions, of which I have been going over what emotions do for us, because they're good and they're God-given, and also what do we do with our emotions. So this is one of my last videos on what we do with our emotions, but this one's very specific, step by step, in the moment of when we're dealing with let's just say hard emotions, because the happy ones we usually don't have to worry about it as much. When we're dealing with the hard, painful, deep, overwhelming emotions, what do we do? And just so you know, these 4 steps are something that and I'm sharing my example today, my example that just happened today. So I'm going to go through these steps with my exact example, my real life example that happened today. So, but this was a hard one today for me too. It was a big one, and it was anger. So anger sometimes is one of those ones we need more help on dealing with. And I don't always get very angry, but it's also something that the steps that I developed, I've realized over time, for healthy expression of emotions, or to express how to express my emotions and result that in being healthy and productive and moving me through my grief instead of being damaging. And trust me, in the middle of it, many times it feels very, it leads me to feel like I want to give up on certain things in my life, certain relationships in my life. It leads me into thoughts, of course, along with emotions. Emotions and thoughts are tied together. So I'm targeting more of the emotions, but the thoughts are right there. And you're going to see the steps that I talk about. The thoughts come into place too to help you work through your thoughts. Okay? So first step is to decide to be kind to yourself. I decided to call it that because it's an overall thing that I learned the terminology from Gary Rowe, who, when he first on an email said to me, when I shared part of my story, he said, be kind to yourself. I was like floored. And I really see that now is a key foundational principle that I need to do in my life for me, is to be kind to myself. So my scenario, let me go back, and I'm not going to go in depth with my scenario. I don't want to stir up gossip or any other thing. So, I want to give you my real life story, or more of what I was feeling and how I went through it, but not go into it because it had to do with 2 people. And it's just, it had to do with a group text that happened on Monday. I was very upset that day. I was getting ready to lead our support group that night, and then I ended up dealing with a technical problem with something online. I won't go into that. And I had chosen to change settings on something, and ended up this whole thing was way more complex. I didn't understand it. Oh my gosh. And then I really got frustrated. So I sat down to eat with my husband, pretty much in a rush, not a rush, but, and then he was like, what? And he had taken a nap, and I was like, wait till we eat. And then because he kind of did it, I just started erupting, and I didn't enjoy my meal, put it that way, sharing it. So thank goodness because I didn't really have time to do any of these things or get myself grounded or calm. And thankfully I was able to go right into leading the group and setting up. And we had a wonderful meeting, and God blessed it. And a brand new woman who's super heavy in her grief, thankfully was blessed. That's all I'm going to say. So, but then I went into yesterday morning. I woke up early, and I was thinking all about the situation and not totally in a good place about it, but ended up having a pretty good day yesterday. And then today my husband works. So this first point here about deciding to be kind to myself, I've learned overall to do this. I'm not saying that I don't end up, because I was also beating myself up today. Even after this, I was like, that was just so stupid that I changed the settings, and look at now, and now I don't think I can get it back, and I don't even know if I can do this now, etc. So I did start to get kind of hard on myself, and I've learned that's not helpful. We need to even forgive ourselves. Hey, I forgive myself. I made a mistake. All I can do is try to learn and go forward. That's all I can do, right? but being kind to myself. So I knew when I got up that I was going to need to deal with the emotion. I didn't realize how deep it was yet, but I was beginning to feel the anger about the whole situation, as well as other things combined together. So bottom line, I was experiencing anger over not just the Monday situation, but this whole issue with technology and goals I was trying to set to go forward with on today. So I realized, hey, my husband's gone for work the whole day. I actually wanted to try to get out to the park today or outside. That didn't happen. So I knew by sitting in my office here that I could look out the window and see some nature, because nature is very supportive and good for me. So it was being kind to myself to do this, and I really need to deal with this today in a big way. So I had to realize, as I was being kind to myself, that I needed to do the chair exercise that I learned from my counselor. If you want to know more about this, I'm not going to go into any in depth today. I want to make sure I get these key points done. But I have 2 extra chairs in my office. This chair that I'm sitting in, actually my clients sit in, and I have a swivel chair that I sit in when I'm coaching, and then I have a little rocking chair that's actually a fold-up chair. And I've done this before with other people that have hurt me, and so I just began to picture that person that I was upset with, especially the one in the chair, and I just started letting it rip. Anything I thought of, anything that I had been thinking about, and the whole processing and being upset. And I didn't get into cursing, and I'm not trying to encourage that, but if you have to do that, I'd say that's the place to do it. But I'm not necessarily encouraging that, okay? So, but bottom line, I just really, really let it out, and it was strong, and there was a lot, and it needed to come out. Typically, other times when I'm upset or I'm dealing with too much going on in my head and I know I need to journal, I can pick up the journal and I can write some of this out, or the general situation out, and that helps me release it. I have other videos on my 5 and 5 exercise, 5 and 5 exercise. I encourage you to go to that. I will try to remember to put the link in this description of this video, because this definitely comes into play with these steps that I'm coming, the keys to safe expression of emotion that I'm expressing right now. So that being kind to yourself kind of sets the stage for you to then go through the other things you need to go through. Because all my other videos talk about many more things about safe people. So when I mention the second one, which by the way, I'll go into it right now, I call it creating a safe space for yourself. So the second key here to safe expression of emotion is to create a safe space for yourself. Place, space. I'm saying space because it may not just be about the physical space. It needs to be beyond that. But it definitely needs to be about where you are physically too. So create a safe space for yourself. So I've been using the word safe on many of my last 4 videos that I've done in this series. Of course, if you're catching this, who knows when, you can go back and you can watch those, because I talk a lot about safe, what's unsafe, what's safe, unsafe, or safe for you and for you to express yourself, or what you need to be for others if you want to be a safe person. So I have a whole bunch of specifics on that. So, but the creating a safe space for myself today, let me just tell you what that looked like for me, was to be in the house instead of out of the house because of the anger I needed to express, instead of out in nature, to be in the house with my husband gone, nobody home, and to do the chair exercise of just releasing everything I needed to the person that I was most upset with. And then I ended up realizing I was angry with God, and I don't get angry with God a lot. I love God. If you're watching my other videos, I hope you sense that. But I'm here to be real today. I'm here to be real and tell you guys that I realized after that, it all just started coming out. I'm angry with you, God. And that had to do with, I'm not even going to say it because you guys are going to think I'm ridiculous, but it had to do with outside of my house and just needing to find that place, a place of peacefulness. That's all. And I didn't feel like he answered my prayers because I prayed specifically about Wednesdays to be quieter outside my house. That's all I'm going to say. So it just rolled right into it, and I just got it out. And then I still journaled. So that was me creating a safe space for myself, partly. But Number 3 is choose which method to get it out. How you're going to express your emotions. You're going to get it out. You're going to share them. You're going to release them. Whatever wording you want to use, okay? I'm overall using the word expression here. So number 3 is choose which method. So I chose the chair method, just so you know, and then I chose to still journal. I needed to still journal and do my 5 and 5 exercise that I have videos on. So that was my method I chose. But going back to the second key to this, to creating a safe space, that entails figuring out, and you may not do it right away, and it's also a learning thing we learn over time, right? But it's learning and identifying what you do need to do or have around you and what you don't need to have around you, or who you don't need to have around you. So I decided I needed to do it alone. Husband at work, not with my husband around, okay? That was best for me, and probably best for him, because I didn't need to have him involved with that at that point. So that was what I decided, and I also decided not to communicate or confront the issue, which will come with me taking responsibility for what I need to say, not because I did bad, but it's also going to entail me being positive in that message, not just negative. But I realized I'm not ready for that until at least tomorrow. So I'm at least holding off on that until tomorrow. That's part of what I did to create a safe space for myself. And then I was able to kind of get that off my mind for now and just let it out with nobody else around and nobody else hearing it, nobody else hearing the story, so they can't gossip, they can't react, or whatever. Okay, that was what I did to create a safe space for myself. All right, that could be, you need calming music on to help you through that. And I did have music on. I do that a lot. That could be part of your safe space. For me, typically, I'm just going through a lot. I need to go to the park. If it's not too hot and the weather's right, I go out in nature to my favorite park. So that can be part of creating a safe space for you. All right. There's more to it than even this, but these are some of the things I want to share with you today. And some of the, things you need and what you don't need. You kind of learn. You got to learn those things. It's over years that I realized how much nature a lot of times helps me. But today, I could be home alone inside. It was best for me to be inside than talking to a chair outside. My favorite neighbor's going, who is she talking to? So that was what was best for me today. And then number 4, the 4th key to safe expression of emotion is to plan and give needed self-care for yourself. Give yourself self-care. Plan it. If nothing else, plan self-care. Okay, let me break this down. I have 3 different levels I broke it down into. This could just have to do with basic needs of self-care. Most of us all know those self-care basic things, and hopefully we were raised to do that, unless we were raised in a really bad environment. Okay, we know to brush our teeth, we know to get dressed and shower and bathe, we all do it different times of the day, etc. We know those basic things, right? But some basics I'm thinking of right now, especially for me, that took some time for me to express my emotions that I needed to with the chair exercise, and then also journaling. And then I went on to declarations, which is a daily thing for me that I do most days. So I needed to shift it. I go from the negative, and then I wrote 5 positives. Even though it was harder, I made myself write at least 5 positives that I could think of at the time. And then I went into my declarations, which shifts me even more into a positive mode. And, I did a couple of my video declarations as well, and repeated them after that. So there's more to it that I needed to do for self-care today. Those are some self-care items for me, beyond just how I expressed it and got it out. Okay. But if you're in a place where you can't do anything that's going to take a long time, then at least plan it. At least tell yourself, you know what, tonight when I get home from work, after everybody goes to bed or whatever, or maybe right away before dinner, I'm going to take a bath. And I'm going to put some Epsom salt in there, or some bath suds, and put on some calming music. Make a plan, at least. I'm going to go take a walk, because walking can be so good. that's making a plan for it. So I wanted to talk about that with self-care. But it may just be your basic needs. Oh my gosh, I have to go to the bathroom. Yeah, recognize. So I got to go to the bathroom because I've been sitting here a long time working through this stuff. Or maybe you're with your counselor and now you got to go to the bathroom. Maybe you were with your spouse because they're safe, a safe person. And now you got to say, hey, I got to get up and go to the bathroom and I need to go get a drink. I don't want to have a, UTI or something. Because you don't need that on top of that. You're already stressed. You are already under stress. The emotions are already affecting your physical health. So go and do something to take care of your physical health. If you're finally ready to eat, but you weren't ready to eat breakfast because you were too upset. That's the way I get. Other people eat too much when they're upset. I withhold, and I don't want to eat if I'm not, kind of in a calm state. So go make your lunch, whatever you need to do. So that might be the basic needs you think of first, which is good. Then I call them your grounding or stabilizing needs, if you want to call it that, grounding or balancing yourself out. Kind of getting, because now your body can be really wired up, even though maybe your emotions are calming down and they've released, your body's still uptight or tense or whatever. So you need to get some balance there. So here's some suggestions on that. I go into other videos on this. I will go into more, but it could be just a minute of deep breathing, and that's all you have time for. That can be so helpful, a minute of deep breathing. In through the nose, out through the mouth, they say. Another thing could be doing, getting some rest. Even if it's 5 minutes, set your alarm if you have to. Give yourself 5 or 10 minutes to just go lay on your bed or wherever and just relax. That can be so helpful. All right. Showering or a bath right then and there. Taking a walk right then and there. Walking they say, is so good for stabilizing our emotions and our thoughts and things like that. So those are just some suggestions. Then now we can get into other things that would help you, other helps, other self-care things that aren't always necessary, but I want you to try to think of them because it can be very helpful to you to be healthy and to do all this in a healthy way. So it might be, I'm going to do my nails right now, or I'm going to do my nails tonight. I'm going to go to a sport that I love. I'm going to go dance, which I love, and dancing is so good for me. And music can play into the second one for sure. The grounding, so putting on music as part of that, or maybe that's all you can do is you just put on a song you love, all you have to move around because you have to go somewhere now, and you can't take a lot of time, so you just at least put on a song. We're so blessed to have these phones, which are computers, and to have music of all types at our fingertips. So that's a great another grounding immediate thing you can think of. But the other helps can be plan a get together with your best friend that you can look forward to. Whatever. There's so many things I can say. I just wanted to mention some ideas. So if you cannot do much at that time, at least plan something. Tell yourself what you're going to do so you at least do it, and hopefully you stick to it, and maybe tell your spouse or your friend so that they hold you to it, remind you to do it. So those are kind of 3 different areas within the self-care that, those basic, that a lot of times we need to do right away. And we need to consciously think of, because we're so caught up in that we may not consciously think of that like we normally do. I got to go to the bathroom. I got to get a drink. I need to get something to eat. I'm getting lightheaded. I'm anxious right now because I'm low blood sugar, or I feel faint, whatever it is. Then you move into those grounding ones, and then move into more of the fun things that you can do to bless yourself with self-care. So those are my 4 keys to safe expression of emotion. What do you think? Try it out. I did today, and I'm so thankful I did, or I wouldn't have been able to do this video for you guys today. Definitely. When you give out and you share and you teach or you coach and you help others or do your job, whatever that would be, we got to take care of ourselves so that we can take care of others, so that we can do our job, so that we can be ready to help others. All right, you are important. I'm Julie K, helping you find your way through grief and loss. And sign on until next time. Check out my emotional series. Check out the other videos. The descriptions are all, the links are all in the description of this video and every video. And all you have to do is put in emotions, Julie, Kettles, or even just Julie Kettles, like a teapot, and you'll see these videos pop up. God bless. Till next time. Bye-bye.